Let's see, did Susie get me spotlit yet? I'll do it. Okay, welcome, yogis. Nice to see you. There's a couple more people signing in right now, so we're going to give them a chance to do that. I see that there are some pets coming to yoga class today. Patricia's dog, I see. Oh, yes, I can see Lynn. Mari sent me a picture of her dog and I put a quote on the photograph. Yoga is easy for me. That's what I said her dog was saying. Nice job taking care of yourselves by scheduling to be here. Okay, good. So let's see. Yeah, Susie is here, and Susie will just use the Sarahjoy phone camera today. We won't go to the side view camera. I had to take that setting and change it so it'll get updated for tomorrow. Okay, let's begin, everyone. We're going to take a comfortable seat and we'll start with some pranayama, and then we'll move into chanting and we'll go forward for our class from there. So please take a comfortable and upright seat. You can rest your hands in your lap with your eyes closed. We have the joy of coming together for practice right now. No matter what we're bringing with us to the practice, and no matter what our intentions are for the practice, those can be very unique and very diverse. There's a place of connection for all of us, what I like to refer to simply as the human condition. So everyone is welcome on the yoga mat, and everything is welcome. We're here to build our resilience and to resolve the difficulties so we can see clearly from our hearts and our minds, and then we accumulate less of the stress and mayhem of life. We're able to more wisely respond to lessening the suffering in life. So that is essentially why we're here. Allow your breathing to slowly deepen, and we'll use yesterday's pranayama practice because it was very effective. It's from our 7 a.m. class. So we're going to have firstly the most simple form of the breath. I'll talk about it in a few moments. And then we'll just make a gradual increase in the tone of the breath. I'm going to change my microphone right now, so hopefully you'll have an easier time hearing me. Just one moment, please. Okay, is that better, Melody, for the microphone? It might have been on my end. Okay, you let me know. Yeah. Okay, so when we're settling in for class, I'll say what I was saying again because I really appreciate when you give me feedback like that. Thank you. I do want the technology to work for you guys. So essentially, when we come to the yoga practice, I want to make clear that we're coming for a kind of physiological, psychological, neurological, spiritual recalibration. And whatever we bring with us to the yoga practice, that happens. We're bringing our life with us. We aren't sort of segregating that off into the margins. At times, it's helpful to set aside something from your life and not to toy with it during your practice, because the practice will give us more clear hearts and clear minds, so that how we then respond to that dilemma will come from our yoga, from this resource. So there's a consideration for both noticing what you're bringing with you is in your body and how you want to work with that while you're here in the practice. So you can return to your upright seat, and let's come into awareness just that the breath is actually happening. And then we'll gradually increase the experience of the breath that we can take with us to the yoga mat. Just right now noticing the inhale and the exhale, they both happen. And they happen on your behalf. And in the practice of yoga, we do two things related to the breath consistently. We practice partnering with, using the wisdom of the breath. We practice also reflecting on, realizing and appreciating that we're being breathed. So now I'm going to ask you to place the tip of your tongue behind the top two teeth and hollow the back of the throat so that you start to hear the most gentle whispering sound of your Ujjayi breath, the most gentle. When you're listening for the most gentle of those sounds, it's going to take a certain kind of concentration, and it will also change the pace of the breath. If you make the Ujjayi a lot louder and more dynamic, it might also become quicker. So I'm asking you to notice the most subtle form of the Ujjayi. You'll feel it in the hollow of the throat. Remind yourself that the sound of the breath is heard with the inner ear in your throat, but neither the eyes, the jaw, the tongue, the mouth, they're not helping to draw the breath in nor to have it go out. That is happening down lower with your diaphragm and your abdomen. So now gradually increase the most gentle form of the whisper of the breath. Bring it up to a less than gentle, but still quiet. So you're like on a dimmer switch coming up to something a little bit more focused. Not the most focused ever, not the most dynamic. And then move the dimmer switch slightly up so it becomes a few degrees more focused, a few degrees more dynamic, still gentle. And do that for one more breath cycle. Now go down to the medium level of the breath, so a little bit less focused, still elegant, not the most gentle yet, but somewhere in the middle. And then take it down to the most gentle, the slightest whisper of the sound in the throat. And then observing that process, of course, observing how it is to come into that practice from whatever you were doing before class. How effective does it feel for you right now, and how willing is your mind to come in to the experience? And you can join your hands together at your heart. We'll chant Asatoma Satgamaya. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityodama Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityodama Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityodama Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. With your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands. Open your eyes. So we're going to practice using that kind of dimmer switch of effort for the breath from the most subtle whisper to a little bit more focused, a little bit more dynamic. At every level, the breath should still feel elegant, is the word I like to use. We'll also practice levels of effort in the physical pose. So generally speaking, if your vata has been high and you feel more disconnected or dissociated, you may have to make a little bit more physical effort to let the body come down and in. If your pitta has been high and you're going horizontally out like a Tasmanian devil, getting everything done, but also burning your fire unwisely, you might have to make more subtle effort in the physical body to let the fire come back in to be wisely used. And if your kapha has been high, means that you're more lethargic, more sedentary, and you need a little bit of rousing, you might need more dynamic effort to raise the earth and water elements up towards the fire element, up towards the heart, and then towards the mind. So I'll let you decide, of course, because you know yourself better than I can say right now. And please come up to standing, and Susie will go to my phone camera. And please take a stance on your mat that is a little bit wider than the mat itself, something like this. I have two mats so I can show you the front view and the side view. So take a stance a little bit wider than the mat that you normally practice on. And please reach back and interlace your fingers. Roll your shoulders open, give a good strong squeeze of your shoulders towards the wall behind you, and bow your chin down towards your throat while you lift your heart up towards your chin. So do lift the heart up. It should feel like the heart, your sternum, your collarbones, they're kind of raised up by the top of your inhalation, the upper third of your breath. And on the exhale, try to sense the continued lift of your sternum and your collarbones and a good length through the crown of your skull. And then keeping the hands clasped, please tone your legs. And when you come over to the standing forward bend here with the hands clasped, now is an important time to ask yourself about your dosha and your habits, and to make a choice for the amount of physical effort that would help to balance your dosha. And I'm going to recommend for that choice making that you use the most subtle form of the Ujjayi breath to have this whispering in the inner ear, where your mind comes inside to really inquire, what is wise action in your body right now? How much physical effort helps to balance your dosha? And then as you exhale, release the clasp of your hands, place them on the mat beneath your shoulders. Walk your hands forward and your feet backwards until you are in the pose called downward facing dog. And when you stretch back into your dog pose, if it's the first dog pose of the day, acknowledge that and slowly enthuse your downward dog pose from your heart down through your arms and hands, up to your hips and sitting bones. And use the most subtle form of the Ujjayi breath so that your mind is capable of greater intimacy with the inner body. And you can ask yourself, what quality of effort and how much effort would be wise for your muscles in this pose to help balance your dosha? And keeping the subtle form of the Ujjayi breath, please inhale forward to plank pose. And notice what quality of effort is needed. So you don't have to have the physical body on 120% effort for plank pose. We don't need it to be 10%, but where in the spectrum do you find that you come into greater alignment with yourself? And as you next inhale, press into cat pose. So you're going to lower the knees and broaden your back like a parachute. And then exhale, bring your heart forward to cow pose. Lift your collarbones and your gaze. And then inhale to cat pose. Okay, exhale back to child's pose. Lightly touch your hips towards your heels. Inhale, roll forward to cat. Exhale to cow. Inhale, cat. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, cat pose. And exhale, cow pose. Notice the quality of effort that you are needing right now. And as you next exhale, bend your elbows and come down onto the floor. You can use inchworm pose to get down. And then I'd like you to reach back and clasp your hands. Roll your shoulders back away from your heart. And give a good strong squeeze of your shoulder blades towards your spine as you rise up to Salambhasana with the inhale. And then exhale to gently glide down. We'll do this about 5 times. So inhale, roll up using now the medium form of your Ujjayi breath. And exhale to glide back down. 3 times more. Moderate the kind of physical effort that you're making so that you're balancing your dosha from within. So if you've had a very fiery morning, if your pitta dosha tends to get exacerbated, the physical effort is going to be less. If you've been feeling lethargic, sedentary, kapha is kind of taking over, your physical effort is going to be more. When you next exhale, bring your hands down to a place beneath your shoulders. Bow your forehead to the floor for a moment. Curl your toes under. And then inhale, press up to plank pose. And exhale, reach backwards to downward facing dog pose. When you get to dog pose, return to the most subtle form of the Ujjayi breath for yourself, right? So you're sensing with more intimacy between your mind and your body what quality of effort is needed now. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for your concentration. Please walk your hands back towards your feet until you're in the pose called Uttanasana, the standing forward bend. In Uttanasana, you can inhale and glide your heart forward, lift the base of your skull, listen to the inner sound of the most subtle Ujjayi breath. And exhale to deeply bow towards your legs. Once more, inhale, glide forward. And exhale to bow towards the legs. The breath is the most subtle. The effort of your legs is based on your dosha. Last one, inhale your heart forward. And exhale to bow towards your legs. Okay, inhale, sweep your arms wide, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, bring your hands to your heart. And standing in your plumb line, which is just at the front of the round part of your heels, the back of the arches. Try to sense the plumb line from there up to the pelvic floor, bladder, stomach, and so on, up through the roof of your mouth and the crown of your skull. Good, so we're going to practice Surya Namaskar now. So step to the front of your mat. You can bring 2 blocks with you. And this afternoon, I'm going to focus again on the upper back, neck, and shoulders in our sun salutation because I'd like to take us down in a little while to a practice where we can learn more about Jalandhara Bandha, the upper bandha in Pranayama. And so please bring your hands together at your heart. Good. Interlace your fingers. Inhale the heels of the hands down, forward and up. Root your left heel and arc to your right. Inhale, rise up to center. The hips are centered, so it's the torso and the rib cage moving a little bit like the lamp is stable, even if the lamp shade is crooked. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, arc to your right. Use the most subtle form of the Ujjayi, but the quality of muscle tone that you need for your dosha. Inhale, rise up. And exhale once more, arc to your left. And inhale, rise up. Good. Exhale, sweep your arms wide. Bow forward. You look beautiful. Touch the 2 blocks, please. Curl the torso down. Inhale and glide forward. Lift from the back of your heart and the base of your skull. And then exhale, step your left toes back. Inhale, rise to your Crescent Lunge pose. Now keeping the legs stable, exhale, take the arms wide. And then wrap your left elbow over your right elbow into eagle pose. And like yesterday's 7 a.m. class, I was saying, oh, the arms were like earmuffs for the ears. Now the arms are like an eye shade for a few moments. You can't see that well forward. So bring your gaze inward. And the most intimate form of the Ujjayi breath. And as you inhale, glide your heart and your elbows up slightly. And when you exhale, let that level off. This gentle wave-like action. Inhale, roll your heart and your elbows up. And exhale, gently glide to level. Do that one more time. Inhale to glide up. And exhale, come to level. Now inhale, sweep your arms wide. Notice how the eyes are liberated, they can see more, and the arms might feel lighter when they go overhead. And then exhale, sweep your arms wide, touch the two blocks. Please inhale your left foot up to meet your right foot. And then exhale, take your right toes back. Inhale, rise to your crescent lunge. Exhale, take the arms wide and hook your right elbow over your left. Weave the arms, and that gives you this temporary eye shade. Bring your gaze inward. Use the strength of the muscles that's necessary to balance your dosha and the most subtle form of the Ujjayi, which is going to slow down your inhale. Right, so as you inhale, you lift your heart, your collarbones, your elbows. As you exhale, bring that back to level. Do that twice more, please. And exhale to level. Okay, last one. And exhale to level. And then inhale, sweep your hands down, wide. Notice how the light returns to your face. And the arms are often lighter after eagle pose because of the compression we just had. Come wide, please. And down. Put the two blocks aside and step backwards to downward dog pose. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to go from the most subtle form of the Ujjayi to a little bit medium effort on the Ujjayi breath. Yeah, and once you feel that's established, stay with that little bit medium effort. You don't have to over effort in the physical body. You can use still the effort in the muscles that's important for your dosha. And what we're going to do here is inhale forward to plank pose. And then exhale to knees, chest, and chin pose, inchworm pose. Inhale to cobra pose. And exhale to knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, table pose. Exhale, plank pose. Inhale, downward facing dog pose. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Same thing one more time. Keep the medium effort of the Ujjayi breath. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, table. Exhale, plank. Inhale, downward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Walk your hands backwards until you are in Uttanasana and return to the most subtle form of the Ujjayi breath, please. So after that bit of exertion, when you come into Uttanasana and you've got the most subtle form of the breath, I want you to feel like you can have a quality of intimacy between your mind and your body and the inner wisdom that will help you to know what is your dosha doing and how can you care for it. And then from this Uttanasana, reach around and interlace your fingers at the small of your back, please. And as you next inhale, glide your heart forward, shoulders back, rise up towards mountain pose with the hands clasped. And then exhale, release both arms, let them dangle. Okay, let's take an exploration with the shoulders. Reach back and interlace your fingers like this. And then bend your elbows and put both hands around your right sideways. That goes like this. So then you have your left shoulder, take it up and back, and press the left shoulder actively back towards the wall behind you. And tip your right ear towards your right shoulder. And bring the chin slightly in towards your throat. And try to feel into the muscles on the left side of your neck. So we've got the left arm behind, hands clasped at the outer right side of your waist. And as you tip your right ear to your shoulder, the chin as it comes in gently helps to lengthen the muscles on the back side of your neck on the left. And you only need the most subtle form of the Ujjayi breath for right now. And then let's have you exhale, bring your head upright. Okay, release the clasp of the hands, let them dangle. Notice the blood supply running down your left arm. That's kind of cleansing. Circulation returning. Okay, reach back and clasp your hands, but change the interlace of your fingers by 1 digit, and then take both hands around your left side waist, and take your right shoulder up and back. And as you take it back, then tip your left ear towards your left shoulder, and bring your chin in towards your throat. And say hello to the muscles on the right side of your neck. Use the most subtle form of the Ujjayi, so it's like you're having the most intimate conversation. Notice in the intimacy of the breath in this conversation, what does happen to the muscles and the sensations on the right side of your neck? And you're going to exhale and release your head up to center, release both arms, and notice the circulation coming down the right arm. So we're going to take this into an exploration from last week, and then we'll take yesterday morning's exploration for the upper back. So I'm going to take a wide stance on my mat for side angle pose, and I'd like you to use both blocks on the same side of your mat on the tall setting like this. So you put one block on the tall on top of a block that's on the flat setting. We didn't do it precisely this way last week, but it is a pickup from last week's practice. So then I'm going to ask you to bend your right knee so it's vertical to your right ankle. Place your right hand firmly and start by gazing down so that your nose is turned in line with your right hand or with your toes. Press your right knee open, lengthen your right inner thigh. Tone your right outer hip. And as you root your tailbone, firm your left heel against the floor. And then as you inhale, sweep your left arm alongside your left ear. And start rotating from your pelvis, then your low belly, then the mid-low belly, then your heart, and then your collarbones. Now the inhale, you're going to arc the left arm back and gaze down. So your neck is going to change positions like this. And then exhale, raise your left arm up as you gaze up. Inhale, open your left arm and gaze down. And exhale, raise your left arm and gaze up. Once more. Now as you're gazing down this time, wrap your left arm around the small of your back, whatever amount you can do. And as you press your left shoulder back towards the wall behind you, root your tailbone so you're not pressing your left shoulder back and then arching your lumbar spine excessively. When you're gazing down, snug your chin a little bit in towards your throat so you're exercising the muscles on the side of the neck and the deep front neck flexors. Lift the very base of your skull, please. And then press into both heels, and with your inhale, rise up to center. And then relax both arms, and let's take the blocks to the other side, please. So we go into the left, place the flat block and then the tall block. Good, thank you. And bend your left knee. Place your left hand. Very nice. You can gaze down and the right arm can relax. It's passive right now. You press into your left heel. Lengthen the inner left thigh. Root your outer left hip and ask yourself, again, how much effort do you need to make at this place in your practice? As you lengthen your tailbone towards your right heel, then start turning your pelvis to your right. Raise your right arm alongside your right ear. Turn your low belly, mid-low belly, the upper belly and the heart. And using the most subtle form of the Ujjayi breath, let's inhale, open the right arm and gaze down. And exhale, raise your right arm past your ear, gazing up. Inhale to open. Nice job. And exhale, raise your right arm, gaze up, use your deep low belly, and keep the legs toned as much as your dosha needs you to. Inhale to open. And exhale to raise your right arm, gazing up. And this time, inhale to open and wrap your right arm around the small of your back gently. Doesn't matter how far it goes at the moment. And I'd like you to roll your right shoulder back, but check that you're not exploiting the sacrum or the lumbar spine. Gaze deeply down to your left and lift the base of your skull. We're in this position in relationship to gravity. It's not that side angle pose is that mysterious or somehow magical, but working against gravity right now as you lift the very base of your skull, you have to tone muscles deep inside the front of your throat. And then with your inhale, sweep your arms wide and rise up. And then let's make the feet parallel. And you can put one block aside and take the other block for your hands. Step into mountain pose. And just hold the block in one hand for a moment and notice what's happening with your neck. So yesterday we practiced this next activity. We were in Anjaneyasana. This afternoon we're going to practice it in the Crescent Lunge because I know that you know this pose and it won't require you to come down to put any pressure on your knee. And for some of you that is a question that you've been asking about. So when I step back, you can please watch for a moment. I do want your Crescent Lunge to be stable. So you have a sense that your pelvis is upright. The back heel is lifted so that your knee and your hip are squared forward. And watch what happens with the block here. I'm holding it in my hands. The heels of my hands are on the block. And you take it overhead And right there, the block goes to the occiput. Then you squeeze the elbows forward and the elbows go up. So you're really lifting, you're actually using the hands to pull the block up against the occiput and then to raise up through your heart and your collarbones. So go ahead and step into your position. I'll stay here as a reference. So as you tone the legs, keep them really stable. And then the elbows hug in. Lift your heart. Lift the base of the skull. Press your head gently back into the block. It increases the back bending that you can sense in the upper part of your spine. Now, keeping that lift at the base of your skull, slowly take your hands up with your block and extend them in your crescent lunge pose. And try to picture, I know we have a full moon right now, but so picture if from your back heel up through your pose to your fingertips and then over to your back heel again, if that was the roundness of the shape of the moon. And then as you exhale, lower your arms down to go forward and step your left foot forward to meet your right foot. And then step your right foot back. We'll do the other side. So you can establish the foundation first, the strength of your foundation. Good. And then you take the block between the heels of your hands. Bring it up overhead. Find the base of the skull. It's called the occipital ridge. Press gently back into the block as you're also lifting up. Keep the legs really stable. You don't need 120% effort in the legs right now. Your tongue does not need to be glued against the back of your teeth. The eyebrows can be relaxed. And as you're reaching upwards, it's the sides of the shoulder blades come around the rib cage. Hug the elbows up and in. As you press your head back into the block, let that increase the gentle curve of the thoracic spine. And then as you next inhale, sweep your arms up alongside your ears and picture the crescent shape that becomes the full moon. And then as you exhale, float your arms forward and down. Your shoulder blades should glide on your upper back. And then step your right foot forward to meet your left foot. And relax in mountain pose for a moment. And try to feel really specifically in mountain pose, what's happening at the base of your skull? What is the feeling tone right there? Okay, now I'm going to ask you to take this very firm block, and I hope you have a firm block, not a flimsy block. You're going to place this on the yoga mat like this. Let me explain a couple things here. This extra block, you're going to have it nearby, so you'll be able to reach for it. Okay, this edge of the block, this first edge, which is what I'm going to call this, is going to be kind of irrelevant. I can't say where that's going to touch you on your spine because this dimension on each of us is slightly different. This edge of the block is for the upper thoracic spine. So you go like this. When you sit in front of the block, you're going to lean back so that the second edge of the block, when you pick up your hips, it is right behind. So if I were to give you what I'll call a cross section, the block is right behind the place right under my collarbones. So that's where that block is on my upper back. And this one goes under the hips. So you go like this. I got my hair stuck. So that when you're on the blocks now, what happens is You've got this upper little back bend right here. The hips should be supported. Notice that the block under my hips is the same height as the block under my spine. So the hips are not lower than the spine. And then the arms come down into what we call supported fish pose. Now, a couple things. When you come back into this pose, if you feel like your head has to tip way back to come down here, then you're going to reach for a blanket to put under your head. If you feel like you're able to be a little bit towards the upper part of your head and the back of your head, if your throat and your voice tone would sound normal, then you don't need the blanket under your head. And let your body breathe down low into the pelvis right through here. And middle breath in the torso and the rib cage. And then the breath in the upper back and the heart. So this is a supported fish pose, Matsyendrasana. See if the shoulders can be heavy and relaxed. The breath is doing most of the inner work for you. And it does not need to be a super dynamic breath. It can be very subtle. Okay, now take another breath in, press into your heels, lift your hips to put the block under your pelvis aside, and then you're going to place your palms face down, palms down, under your hips. So when your hips come down to the floor, you have this awkward, momentarily awkward back bend. You straighten one leg and then the other, and then press down into your hands and hips and lift up with your heart, and then with your head. You take that block that was back there, put it aside, roll down, and pause to feel what your neck and your upper back and chest are experiencing right there. Let your mind really deeply relax, especially right from the third eye, the sixth chakra. Notice the base of your skull, the back of your throat, the back of your neck, the back of your heart. Okay, and now one last thing. We're going to do this breathing practice. I will talk you through it to the best of my abilities. You don't have to look for it. So what I'm going to ask you to do is pick up your knees and bring them towards your shoulders. This is to get us into the Shavasana mode, the Shavasana trance. So inhale while your knees are towards your chest, the chin is towards your heart. And then exhale and curl up and release the exhale completely by toning the deep low belly. Bring your chin in towards your throat. Then inhale, roll your thoracic spine down against the floor very slowly. And then the back of your head. At the top of that inhale, then deeply relax for the exhale. It's like a sigh for the body. Okay, inhale. Curl up. Expel the exhale completely. Inhale, roll your thoracic spine down slowly. And then the back of your head. And then you exhale like a sigh. The body really relaxes on the exhale. Inner body, eyes, tongue, belly. And inhale again. And exhale to curl up. Inhale to roll down, slowly, slowly, like one vertebrae at a time, moving up your thoracic spine until your head reaches the floor. And then exhale, touch your feet down and let the exhale be like a sigh for the whole body. And listen for the most subtle form of the Ujjayi breath now. Open the arms out to the side gently. Take the legs out. Relax the Ujjayi breath. And first bring your attention to the sixth chakra, the place for your inner sight. And imagine you're gazing down in towards your brain, appreciating all the efforts and the activities that were required to practice the sequence. And gaze down towards your brain stem and the base of your skull. And allow the base of the skull and the brain to get really heavy with a relaxed, kind of limp feeling. The recognition that there's no urgency right now. Keeping your eyes really relaxed. Loosen the hinge of your jaw. The lower jaw releases its hold on the upper jaw. Allow the throat to begin resting more deeply. The muscles at the back of your neck and deep inside your throat. Allow the muscles there to go limp with relaxation. And allow the shoulders to get very heavy against the floor. Release your shoulder blades. Welcome your upper back to feel kind of held by the loving hands of your shoulder blades. And soften the muscles between each of the vertebrae and each of your ribs. Then invite the organs in the abdomen, the stomach, liver, spleen, and so on. They get really heavy and relaxed also. So limp with relaxation. And then down into the abdomen, the region we sometimes call the gut. You can imagine the small intestine, large intestine, like a deep inner intention for ease. And then welcome the bones of your pelvis to become very relaxed, heavier to the ground beneath you. Releasing any tension that's unresolved in your deep low belly. And then let the legs become really relaxed, like two unctuous rivers. Thigh muscles, thigh bones, kneecaps and calves, your shins and your heels, and all the way to the toes. And listen for the inner stillness that may come when the elements of the body are balanced. So the earth element comes back to grounding. The water element is smooth and unctuous. Fire is there for motivation and digestion, for a luminous mind, but not overpowering earth or water. And air is there, breathing in, very subtle. And ether is the space element, the immense space in which all the elements exist. Kapha, Pitta, and Vata. And now you may lightly wiggle your fingers and your toes. And then gently bend one knee at a time. And roll to your side. Getting these yoga tune-ups in the middle of the day is so helpful. So take a seat when you come up. And let your mind sense the inner plumb line, the central channel of the body, comprised of the elements, this deep intelligence. Please bring your hands together at your heart. And with appreciation for the practice and for each other, our continued resilience and fortitude is needed. We'll sing Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May there be peace within, peace in all three realms, Shanti Shanti Shanti. May there be peace for everyone, everywhere. Thank you, everyone. Namaste. So I'm eager to hear